We talk a lot about our relationships with our dogs and how to build them and how to make them better. But do you ever wonder where a great relationship with your dog could possibly take you? Could it possibly take you to Europe? Today we have instructor Nell as a guest on our podcast, and her relationship with her dog Shenzi did just that. Find out more and join us today on the McCann Dogs Podcast.
This is literally the fact of the matter. We have an expert in-house here to chat with us today.
And to count to 10.
And And we've already told her that she failed the counting test. No, she actually passed the counting
Flying
test.
colors.
I'm not sure I'm an expert in anything. But
I would say you probably rank up there in the expert department on so many things.
Yes.
And we're going to crack a bunch of them today when we start talking here. So one of the rules that I wanted to go over on air that we always have is the desire and ability to break into song at any point.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. If at any point a song strikes you, you sing.
Just start singing.
Yes.
Also, Simpsons references. If you have any of those in the bank, I'm not sure. Are you a Simpsons fan?
no,
now?
I am not.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Disappointed.
We'll
will
take care
be.
of the Simpsons references today. then.
By the end of the podcast, she will. Also, we do break into dance sometimes
Yes.
too. Now,
Okay.
it's hard to stand up and dance, but we do some of this dancing.
Yes. And sometimes we do interpretive dog training dance.
Yes.
So
Okay.
if you want to jump in on that, I mean, agility definitely has its purposes towards interpretive dog training dance. I will
Yes.
tell you. It's
Yeah.
like a dance.
Oh, it is. It is.
So now that we've done all this rambling, I would like to introduce our guest today. We have in the studio with us one of our longtime instructors now, Nell. Welcome to the podcast, Nell.
My pleasure to be here, ladies.
We'll see if you're still saying that at the end of the podcast. No, we try to have as much fun as possible, but we also try to be a little bit serious for moments during the podcast. So that's coming too, just to prepare you fully.
Okay. Because I thought, oh dear, if it's all about song and dance and Simpson quotes, I'm not sure I'm the expert you want.
I'm out of my depth.
I'm out.
of my depth. I don't know. You know what? I should clarify that Swanee and I are both not good singers or dancers.
Oh no,
So-
no.
It doesn't have to be anything impressive.
Well,
just entertaining.
A little known fact about Shannon: she did take tap dancing lessons as a child. Tappa, tappa, tappa.
Tap, jazz, and musical comedy. I actually took ballet as well. It was ballet that I wanted to take, and then I ended up picking up all the others. And then, of course, I grew up and stopped dancing, and now
I've
don't
taken
dance.
no dance lessons in my life. I don't know if that shows, but I've taken none. But I am intrigued. On my Facebook feed, a belly dance class in Burlington keeps coming up, and it's working its magic on me. Because I thought that would be so much fun. Like the instructor, I'm sure would be horrified to get me in class.
You do need that training, though.
Right.
I've seen you try to move your hips and your belly separately, and you need work.
Yes.
I don't want to tell you your business, but you need work on that.
I'm thinking I'll sign up and they're going to take all their ads off. But means we're attracting the wrong people.
And then the podcast will take a whole different...
Oh my
yes.
gosh, don't
yes.
you know? Yeah, we'll have to come up with something different, completely different. Alrighty, so Nell, tell us about your connection to McCann's. How are you here today sitting with us in the studio?
I'm not sure. So you know what? I'm a long-time student of McCann's.
Okay.
So I was thinking this morning, I've probably been here over 30 years
I
training
wouldn't
dogs.
be
hey?
surprised at
Yes.
that.
And then as an instructor, probably about 25 years.
Yeah.
So I've had numerous dogs come through McCann's, and I say all the time that McCann's really has the recipe for training dogs.
Yeah.
Whether it's just for pets, a great family member, or sports. I love sports.
Yeah.
And so sports was sort of the epitome of obedience for me. So that's how I got to be here and remain here as still all these years later.
When you started as a student, did you feel that you were going to go into sports, or did it just happen?
It just happened.
Just happened.
Truly happened.
Like all wonderful ideas.
Yes.
It just evolved.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I love how you put the recipe for success there. I completely agree, but I would love to hear in your words what that recipe contains.
So the recipe for me is that the respect of the handler and the dog that is presented to McCann's is a unique teaching experience for them. And depending on the personality of the handler, the personality of the dog, and then the progressions that the puppies and the handlers go through, in the end, every team is amazing to me.
I love that.
And when I teach puppy essentials classes, and then sometimes I'll cover the advanced classes, and I'll remember that team of the puppy and the handler, and I'll think, wow, sirs, you guys, and I'll say to people, you guys must be so pleased with how your dog is.
Yeah.
So I just think it's amazing.
I couldn't agree more. You know, I actually just said to one of our monthly members only students this morning in our, we have a post online, and we deal with questions and videos and whatnot through this post online, and it closes on Friday morning, so we were closing it up. And I actually just said to one of our members who was expressing that she couldn't believe how much different her relationship with this dog was compared to other dogs. And she hadn't trained other dogs, of course. And this dog she's done extensive training with now. So she did puppy essentials and life skills, and then joined us in members only. And she's been doing our higher learning members only program for probably about 6-ish months now, I would say. She really started when school broke for her for the summer, and she started really digging in, and she has blossomed. This team has blossomed, and she's feeling these feelings. This, you know, this thing that is so hard to put into words, that is so special in that relationship you create with an animal when you can communicate with that animal. And
there's an excitement about dog training that suddenly you feel it.
Absolutely. Yes. And like that ability to communicate honestly with the creature instead of filling in holes, right? Oh, he's doing that because he's being stubborn, or he's doing that because, you know, he's trying to spite me, versus he's doing that because he's a dog and he likes doing that thing, and we need to give him incentive to do something different. And then you do, and you get the result. And your communication gets that much better and better and better. And you end up with this relationship that is just incomparable to anything else. Like, I've tried so hard in my time in dogs to articulate how special that relationship is, and I always feel like I fall short because there truly are no words that can express how this feels.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah. And so, Christine, you asked if I thought about going into sports at the time. I didn't even know there was a sports world. I didn't even know it existed. So I just got sort of introduced to it because I would hear little things. And as I agree with you, Shannon, as you get a relationship with your dog, you just want to spend time together. Doesn't matter what you do. And it's exhilarating.
It really is. It really, really is. And it's such a special connection to feel with an animal, and to be able to teach them to do things and have them go, yeah, I want to learn that, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to become proficient. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. And one of the reasons why we have Nell here today is because she's done something very special. She, you know, talks about how not knowing about dog sports, but she has reached a pinnacle of dog sports.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons we thought, you know what, let's get Nell on here.
Yes.
Nell, what did you just recently do?
I went to Belgium. I flew to Belgium with my dogs, and I participated in the inaugural Senior Open AWC agility team. So it was a Canadian team that
representing
Canada. And I was
the Olympics of dog sports.
Yes. And honestly, it was an amazing experience. It was so great. So I am competitive, but I'm competitive like for myself. And so, every once in a while, things would come up that I would get an opportunity to trial or to train or to try out. And so I would just push myself a little bit to do it. Anyway, so we made the Canadian team and we went to Belgium.
Wow.
And it was an amazing experience.
Oh, wow.
It was so cool.
So before we come to all the what led you to that, tell me about some of the highlights of that experience for you.
So one of the highlights for sure was in the opening and closing ceremonies. Okay. They asked me to be the flag bearer.
Oh, wow.
So I was the oldest member of the Canadian team.
Okay.
So that gave me the position, I guess, of the Canadian
The benefits of getting older.
Yeah. And the benefits of surviving.
And it was so cool.
Oh, that would be, yes.
Okay, so that was very impressive. The other thing is that it was a junior team and a senior team. It was the first time that they'd ever done it, that a world team has ever done it. And it was amazing. The junior handlers were incredible people, and their support staff was wonderful. And then the senior team, again, they were incredible people.
Oh, my goodness.
When we went to the opening ceremonies, you have to wait on the floor as other countries came. 30 plus countries were represented.
It truly is the Olympics of dogs. Yeah, it's the Olympics of dogs.
And there were over 1,000 dogs that competed.
Oh, my goodness.
So it was a big event. Right. I think it was bigger than they expected it to be.
Yes.
So
imagine 1,000 dogs.
That's a lot of dogs.
Were they all behaving?
Incredibly well.
Yeah, and that's
incredible.
That's mind-blowing.
Quite a feat.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Because my little dog, I say all the time, my little dog had no idea she was at a big event. Right. She was on the start line, and she was like, okay, we're doing it again.
Right?
But it was so cool, hey?
I love it.
So, no, it was great. But when we were at opening ceremonies, we were like cordial to each other.
Yeah.
We were like friendly enough, eh? But in 3 days' time, at the closing ceremonies, we were like friends. We knew stuff about each other. We were laughing and joking. Like it was an amazing experience.
I love that.
Can you tell us some of the countries that you remember that were there?
So the Netherlands was there. Greece was there. The Slovak European countries were there. Italy, Portugal. U.S. was there.
Right.
U.S. had a big group of handlers and teams. It was
from how about like Australia or faraway places like that?
China was there.
Wow, yeah. So neat too to see dogs from other countries and see how handling is in other countries as well. Yeah,
most definitely.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the ages then. So you mentioned juniors and you mentioned seniors. So what are the age ranges in both of those groups?
So in the junior age group, there were 2 groups. They were up to 14, I believe.
Okay.
And then the next group was 15 to 18.
Okay.
So those consisted of junior. And then the senior team was 55 to 65. And then 65 and older.
Okay.
So, and that was split. But on the Canadian team, most of the members were in the 55 to 65. I think there were only 2 of us that were over 65.
Okay. Yeah. Alrighty.
So,
well, and you have a unique situation as well in that you have a junior. Has he aged out of juniors?
He's aged out of juniors.
He has.
Yes.
But he ran as a junior. Your son ran as a junior.
Yeah. So he was 8, my youngest son. I have 7 human children.
7 human children, everybody. Plus how many dogs?
Now I only have 3, but I have had as many as 6.
If anybody if anybody is looking for Superwoman in person, she's in the studio at McCann's now. She's on the McCann Dogs podcast.
I just was very fortunate. I was just very fortunate. But so yes, my youngest son was 8 when he started in agility, and he still competes to this day. Just went to nationals, a national event in August, and he got 4th place in.
That's amazing. Yes.
That's so awesome.
So so he also competes, and he also trains as well in agility.
Yes.
And he loves it too.
Yeah, he loves it.
So he runs one of your border collies, correct?
Yes, he does.
Yes.
He did run my golden doodle, and he ran for many years. He ran the golden retrievers.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's really his passion, is a golden retriever. But now his focus is university, which it needs to be.
Absolutely.
He's 22. And so when he comes back home or settles with his education, his plan is to get another golden retriever.
Nice.
And do agility with it.
Yes. And a fun fact, my son Ty and James were in the same lifeguarding class.
Yes.
So they know each other.
Yeah,
I don't even think I knew that.
Right?
It's a small world,
It is.
hey?
Yeah. They're
Such
in
a
the same
small world.
lifeguarding class.
Oh
So
my
that was
gosh.
such a fun time.
I
They
bet.
both went on to be lifeguards. So
Yes. Yeah.
Did they actually talk about lifeguarding, or did they just talk about agility and dogs the whole time?
probably lifeguarding. I imagine lifeguarding. Yeah.
Probably lifeguarding.
Darn it.
Yeah, and they probably talked about what great moms they had. That's
I have
probably the
no
talk.
doubt. I have no doubt. And they made plans for how they were going to show their appreciation and buy you guys
Right.
presents and all that.
Oh, right.
No
That's
doubt.
yes.
I don't believe any of that, Christine.
I think it's true. We're just gotta wait for our gifts. Yeah.
All right. So you have mentioned a couple of different breeds of dogs then. So you had golden doodle, border collies. Tell me what your overall impression of each of those dogs was in the sport of agility.
So in the sport of agility, certainly border collies are a working breed.
Mm-hmm.
So they're keen to work for sure. But you know what? The golden retrievers have such a connection with you as a handler. So they're doing the sport because they love to be with you. That's true of the border collies as well, but the border collies also have this innate desire just to work.
Right.
But I think that when you have a relationship with your dog, they want to do what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes. And so
To a fault sometimes.
Yes.
I don't get to go to the bathroom by myself ever. Like, this is a problem. I need a trainer.
Or a door.
why didn't I think of that?
Just close the door, Shannon.
My house came without those. You know, some people's cars come without signals. My house came without doors, right? Oh my God. Okay. So how about the golden doodle in there? There's an interesting combination in some of those golden doodles.
So you know what? She was great. She was great at agility. She had a little spook early on in her career in agility, and so she didn't love to trial, but she loved to train, and she went on to be a pet therapy dog.
Nice.
And so she went to places where other dogs, like in locked units of seniors' homes and with kids that read to her at the library and stuff. And she had this amazing personality. And she was very well behaved. I mean, she was well trained.
Of course.
And you know what? Early on, I was just telling a Puppy Essential class the other day that early on I thought, I'm here to train my dog.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Puppy Essentials talks about trick training. And I thought, that's beneath me. I'm not trick training. I just want an obedient dog. And then when this golden doodle went to these places, some people were like a little bit anxious about dogs.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I learned the value of
Yeah.
tricks. And so I taught her a lot of tricks. And so she would put on a little show for people, and people would warm up to her so much.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
right? It really
yeah.
breaks that barrier.
It does.
Yes.
And you can't help but smile when you see a dog doing tricks.
Yeah.
Like I challenge anyone not to smile watching a dog do a
challenge you.
trick.
Challenge you not to smile.
And it's such a relationship builder.
Absolutely.
Because there's no negative recourse. It's if you don't do it,
Absolutely.
we'll work on something, make it easier.
Yeah.
So and there's lots of other values to it. But my golden doodle, she was amazing as a pet therapy dog.
Fantastic.
Oh, yes.
It really does take a special dog to be able to do that work.
It does, yes.
I did it very early on with my tollers, and it became evident very quickly that it was not the right work for them. They were not the right breed for that work. At least mine weren't at any rate. I found it to be very, very heavy for my first toller, Jaden, and he would get very depleted by the end of those visits. Similarly, when we would do like patent chats and things like that at the Sportsman Show, he only had so much of that in him. Like they really are... their standard actually says aloof. You know, that's what they're meant to be. And I would say his temperament was the perfect aloof temperament. He was friendly enough to say, hey, how's it going? And then now I don't have any time for you. And off he'd go. He was never shy or worried. But by the time he had spent, half an hour being greeted by person after person after person, he was depleted of that. He just did not want to do it anymore. So,
Well, you asked earlier about the different breeds with agility, and that sort of speaks to it as well. I mean, you have different, your you have different breeds, but you also have different personalities
Absolutely.
within the
Yes.
breed.
Yes.
And so you sort of have to temper what you do and with the dog that you have.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
sometimes
absolutely.
you might have the dream of this is going to be my best agility dog yet, but then you get the puppy and it doesn't quite fit that puppy's personality. You know, then it brings you into another sport, like it brought you into the therapy, or maybe someone would go into obedience or rally or dock diving. So, you know, we get that puppy with a vision, but sometimes the puppy changes our vision.
Absolutely. And we're so lucky these days. We have so many options.
Yes.
It is, we are fortunate.
Yeah, really and truly. It used to be that there was obedience and fly ball, and then agility came along and it started to grow wings, and now there's all sorts of, there's
Right.
hoopers and there's just billions of things. Barn hunt and
Right?
duck diving.
Yeah.
I could go on, but my brain's gone blank now. So I'll move on in the topic.
Well, when I first started training here at McCann's, one of the things that we trained was fly ball.
Right? Yeah.
Hey, that was early on. So I did get into fly ball as well. And currently with my dogs that do agility, I do fly ball as well. So it's a pretty cool sport.
Yes,
as
I
well.
love fly ball.
It's
Yes.
so different.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And for me, there's no pressure with fly ball.
Right.
Okay.
It's just I'm part of the team. I do the best I can, but you know, there's no pressure. And my dogs know that there's no pressure from me. When I get into that agility ring, they know, like, Mama's very pressured.
Well, and let's talk about that for a moment, because you mentioned that your golden doodle had an unfortunate incident and got a little put off by trials. And I don't know that if you've never been in a trial environment, it's really hard to envision how much pressure there is in that environment, both for you and for the dogs. And it takes work and training to introduce the dog to that pressure-filled environment and have it be something that the dog can then function in and be successful in. And sometimes they have that one event learning where something negative happens and it's really overwhelming for them. So how do you find that process in terms of going from like our little agility, well, little quote unquote, we have quite a large agility facility here on the property, but going from training and having this, you know, fun time and training to then add the pressure but still enjoy the competition. I'm assuming you enjoy the competition. You get pretty excited.
I get pretty excited about it. You know what, Shannon, I'm not, I rather train than compete.
I'm with
sure.
you 100% there.
100%. But for a long time, I only trained and I didn't compete. And then my training got stale.
Okay.
And so then I started competing, and I would go to competitions, and I'd see people with their dogs, and I'd think, I want to do that, or I want to do that. And so then competing sort of eggs me on to train some more. Eh? I'm not sure I've gotten a handle on the stress of the competition environment yet. But it's all part of the process.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And I have dogs that, although like now my border collies are working breeds, but they're still very in tune to me.
Absolutely.
So they have a sense when I'm stressed that they're affected by their performance. My dog that I competed in Belgium, her a little less so because she really loves the game. But my youngest border collie, she's very affected by my how I'm feeling.
Okay.
And that affects her performance in agility or not even in fly ball, but certainly in agility, she is affected by it.
So what are some of your go-tos to keep that in check then?
I'm not sure.
She'll get back to us when she knows.
I came back. So I went to Belgium and competed, and then I went and competed at Nationals. And Nationals I didn't do as well as I would have liked to because of the pressure. So one of my goals now coming back is to sort of work on my mental game.
Okay.
I was never competitive as a kid. I had 7 children. I was busy. I wasn't doing anything but rearing children and working. And so this competition stuff is new to me. So now I'm back, and one of my goals truly is to work on my mental game.
I love it.
So
I love it. I love it. You know what? You just keep adding more skills to your life, right? You know,
100%.
Yeah.
Man.
And if you don't compete, that's what I had. If you don't compete, you don't experience that.
Yes.
It's all part of the journey. It's all part of the experience.
It is.
And, you know, as we get older too, often we start to do less in our lives. But Nell, you're the opposite. You are expanding and learning and
Yeah. I am not a
You're not going to sit in a rocking chair and
I'm
knit.
not going to sit in a rocking chair.
Well, and let's just say as well,
There's nothing wrong with rocking chair and knitting.
nothing
but-
wrong with
no,
knitting in a
no,
rocking
no,
chair. No,
no.
that's my future. So please don't knock it. Dachshund on my knee over here, knitting over here, right? Isn't that some little dog for?
Can I put in an order for mittens, please?
I will make you mittens. They'll be little mittens so I can get through the day. I have no idea how to knit, actually. As a kid, I knew how to knit, but I don't know how to knit. That's okay. Alrighty. So I was going to make the point of saying you also had a full-time career as
As a nurse, registered nurse, yes.
And very special type of nurse.
Yeah, so I worked in coronary care units and intensive care units.
Yes.
And currently I'm still working, right, in a neonatal intensive care unit.
Yes.
So
That's wonderful.
I retired like almost 2 years ago, but just before I retired, because of the staff shortage, they asked if I would come back.
Right.
So I was really only retired for 2 weeks.
Oh,
I
you did retirement so well now.
I did longer vacations than retirement. So I do go back and help still.
Okay.
So just do as much as I can, but I dictate sort of now, which is nice, when I work so that it doesn't interfere with my dog stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, you evolve in your life.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But yeah, so I am an intensive care nurse.
Yeah. So there's a lot. There's a lot in that brain.
Right.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Yeah.
I can imagine it's quite a marvelous thing.
And yet my passion really is dogs
Yeah.
and
Right.
dog training.
Yeah, and you're here teaching classes and you training,
Yeah.
competing. So because we see you many days a week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have, like, there's a lot of staff like yourself that come in and do this sort of on a part-time basis because they have other full-time jobs, et cetera. And I'm sure that, like, this would probably override most things in most lives in terms of general employment.
Yes.
Who doesn't want to play dogs?
No, and all those people that like me that have other lives and come and train and work here part-time we come with our dogs as well.
Yes.
So when I have a puppy, I go through all these classes because you see that this is where the success is for that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
hey,
the foundation.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And as a successful competitor, what do you think those foundation skills are?
So for a lot of them is the relationship.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And then the other is the obedience.
Yeah.
So when I'm on the line, I have a very fast dog. Well, for me, she's very fast.
Well, no, she's fast. She's fast.
And I can't run fast. So she has to do things like hold her start line. Well, she's chomping at the bit to do this.
Yeah.
And it's a very stimulating environment. But she has to hold that down while I go 40 feet away from her before I release her. So those kinds of things, she really has to be listening to what I'm saying and follow my cues.
Yeah.
And that really for me is an obedience thing.
120,000%. I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Listening skills are second to none.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much to be said for being able to go into any environment, any sport, any conservation area, any park, anywhere, and expect that you can trust your dog will listen when you call them, and not just hope with your fingers crossed that they'll listen when you call them.
No.
To know, because you've put in the work, you've put in the time, you've created the reliable results, and you have faith in those results. Like there's just no greater freedom.
Yeah.
Right.
So you got to spend that time putting in the work and the foundations and the basics. So many people want to skip the basics and move on to the the glamorous things.
Absolutely.
But we need to, put our time in the basics.
Yeah, absolutely. Get to the sexy stuff once you've got the good listening skills.
Yeah.
That's so
Well,
so
and
pointed.
I do, what I often do too is I do agility classes here at McCann's for sure, but I often couple it with still the obedience classes.
Good call.
Because the agility stuff is the fun part.
Absolutely.
And the dogs enjoy it, but it's all about listening
Yes.
and
Right.
that relationship. And you get that when you do the obedience classes.
Exactly,
as well.
yes.
And they're they're more than obedience classes here, like the life skills
Yes.
4, or like, they push it to the max and make it fun. And
Absolutely.
but it's
Yes.
all about obedience, but it doesn't look like that.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
we had proof of that. We saw your photos on Facebook of your trip, and you took your dogs everywhere in Belgium. And I saw you went to England as well.
Yeah.
And your dogs are in every picture. And there's like iconic backgrounds behind you. You're at cafes. So your dogs listen and are well behaved for everyday life.
Yeah.
Yeah, they honestly, when we went, we competed in Belgium, and then because I do stuff that's kind of crazy, I knew that the Border Collie Classic was the next weekend. So I thought, well, why don't I just register for that?
Right?
So I just
jump over to England.
I just registered for it, and then realized that was a big deal to get from Belgium to England. But I'd have been registered, so we went over and did that. But absolutely, Christine, part of that trip was so amazing because you just took your dogs wherever, and you knew that there were no issues.
Yes. And not many people can just take their dogs to Europe and get that behavior.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
Absolutely. So what was that experience like? Talk a little bit about just enjoying a whole other part of the world with your dogs.
As far as the traveling with the dogs,
Yeah, all of it.
you know what? It was so lovely because I love to spend time with the dogs. Hey, anytime there's a trip that would be dogless, I wouldn't be interested in it really. But the dogs they chilled at while we had dinner. While we walked around, kids were walking around, like nothing fazed my dogs. We went to Warwick Castle for as a tourist attraction, and they had a bird show, and the bird show was outside, of course, and we were sitting on benches.
Is it like Birds of Prey or
Birds of Prey?
Okay.
And the dogs were with me, and they were laying on the ground, and these birds of prey swooped so close to you, like you felt their feathers.
Oh, wow.
Like they were.
Yeah.
It was an incredible show. So, but people, like the organizers of the show, came over and said to me, you've got 2 dogs, but our birds of prey are going to be like flying around really close. I said so confidently, they're just going to be here. They're not even going to notice. So we did have to sort of put them, we weren't allowed to put them on the open side of the bench because they were concerned that the birds of prey would
Take
target
one away.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, I'd be concerned about that too.
Right? Yes.
So we
I'd
just
be
had,
rolling up my
Right, yeah.
sleeves.
we
getting
just
ready to
had them in front, but because the dogs were so disinterested, the birds they didn't even sense that the dogs were there because
Isn't
there
that fascinating?
was
Yes.
no
There was
energy.
no threat for them.
There was no
Right.
energy from my dogs at all.
Amazing.
And we watched that show twice because it was so amazing.
Oh, I want to go to just to see
Let's
it.
all go to England.
Yeah, just to see the show. Yeah.
So, but that's how reliable the dogs were.
Yeah.
Hey?
Well, and you have a dog that you take everywhere with you all of the time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So my youngest dog is a border collie, and I train her to do dog sports as well. But when I got her 2.5 years ago, somebody said to me, "How old will you be when she's 15?" And I thought, you're right.
I thought I'll be younger than I am now. What are you talking about? Isn't that how math
I'm
works?
not sure. I'm not sure that I'll be running around doing dog sports with this dog. So, anyway, I've trained her as well to be my service dog, and so she comes everywhere with me, and she always has. So I have her certified as a service dog as well. And when we flew to Belgium, she flew in the plane with me.
Okay.
And then my competitive dog flew in cargo.
Okay.
But she's amazing. Has a little bit of a hard transition to go to agility.
Okay.
Because she's the dog that, because she's so in tune to me, if anything happens in that agility ring, she worries about me or sort of.
She feels more responsibility.
Right, yeah. She feels more responsibility to me as a person, and so she goes, I can't do that. So it's a little bit of a thing that we're working through.
Okay.
But she's an amazing dog. Yeah. So I had both dogs with me.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I know you brought your Team Canada shirt with you.
I did.
So people watching on YouTube will be able to see, but
Yes.
Yeah. So
I
they
am going to show
got
you.
equipped with
'Cause
uniforms.
I was pretty proud of this, man.
It's an
Absolutely.
amazing shirt to have. Yes. And the
Making history.
And
Absolutely.
back, Shenzi, that's your dog's name. Yeah.
And then you know what was really cool? When we went to this event, I'd heard about it, but when you experience it, it's like mind-boggling, is that one of the instructors at McCann said they'll do a shirt exchange at the end of the competition. And so what
You wore your best bra? Because you're whipping off your shirt.
Shoot, I wish I talked to you.
Those details better be somewhere in the competition notes.
And so I switched with a U.S. team member.
Nice.
And a lot of the
Cool.
people switch with Europeans, but I wanted to switch with the American because the dog that competed, Shenzi, is actually from Illinois. And she's from a breeder who has since retired from breeding. And so I just sort of, in honor of her connection to the States, I wanted to have an American.
I'm still giggling about my bra. I'm sorry.
Swanee, focus. Try to focus, could you?
I'm very funny. Just ask me.
Sometimes I meet people or I talk to my kids and I think, I didn't realize you were that funny. So I want to say to Swanee, I didn't realize you were that funny.
Oh, Swanee is one of the funniest people I know. She's one of my favorite people for that reason.
When we're out in classes, I do keep myself in check.
Yeah, sure you do.
I do.
No, you do. You do a good job. But you're also very easy to laugh at. And
That's
with.
That's true. Yeah. Oh my God. But yeah. Oh no, that's a great idea then with Shenzi being from the States.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So tell me about the plane ride. Have you ever had your dogs on a plane before?
No.
Is this a new thing for you? So you got to experience both the cabin and the cargo.
Yeah,
Was there-
so I had a dog in cargo before that I'd flown. So but it was within Canada. It wasn't to Europe. So
Swanee's still trying not to laugh. I can't even look at her. The whole podcast is going to derail any
put my
second now.
shirts away so you can maybe forget about it.
I got a case of the giggles. Okay, I think they're out of me now.
I don't know. Sorry, no.
That's all right. I'm just
Okay.
So anyway, that was the first time that I had a dog on the plane with me.
Look at her sideways.
It's gone beyond now normal. Yes.
It's because you're trying so hard
I'm
to
trying
stop.
hard now. Yes.
That's what makes it really impossible. I used to do that in school. I would be getting in trouble and I'd
Yeah.
still be laughing and the teachers would be so upset with me
Yes.
and I couldn't stop and I was trying so hard. So I can appreciate what
Yes.
you're going through right now,
Yeah.
but know that you're
I'm
safe. You are safe to keep laughing. You're not going to get in trouble by any teachers.
No,
Okay.
we don't mind.
I think I have it under control now.
No,
And I'm going to stop being distracted by it. I'm going to do this so that you can keep telling your story.
Well, that's all right. That's all right. People on the podcast are probably envisioning me in my bra as well. And
That's what we aim for.
And they're giggling.
That's exactly what we aim for every time. Nothing but thoughts of nudity. Our job is done. Mic drop.
And not just any bra, your best bra. Actually, men probably don't find it as funny, but with women, we get it.
We get it. Laughing.
Yeah.
All right. Nell,
Yes.
would you like to talk about the plane ride without interruption?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
no issues. No issues at all. No, you know what? It was very good. Honestly, my dog that came on the plane with me was as good as gold. Like there wasn't a hitch with that dog. Hey, but she's had years and years of training. What,
Right.
2.5 years of
Absolutely.
training, and she goes everywhere I go.
Yeah.
So she was like it was nothing.
Piece of cake.
Even
Yeah.
during takeoff and
Not even
landing?
Not even.
you know how we sort of get, sometimes our ears pop
Yeah.
and...
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, nothing. You know what? We talk, McCann's classes talk about socializing your dog, and sort of that service dog training really is like mega socializing your dog, really.
Yeah, and
And
socializing in terms of exposure
Exposure
and listening in those
exposure to
environments.
all these different things, eh?
Yeah.
And so loud noises, vibrations, what she feels under her pads, like anything like that, she has been exposed to.
Yeah.
So she never noticed. Honestly, she never flinched once.
Did she sit up on the seat?
No,
on the floor?
she
Yeah.
was on the floor. Yeah. You don't. I'd asked if we needed to buy a seat for her just to give us more space, and they said no, that they would accommodate her. So we just sat behind the bulkhead.
Okay,
So
it
we
was a
had a
bit
little
more-
bit more floor
Yes.
space.
Nice.
But we were in a 3-seat. My husband and I went, and we went in a row with 3 seats.
Okay.
And a gentleman at the end, when he saw us coming, he was like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, the unknown, yes.
That's what happens with Swanee all the time. Every time she walks in somewhere.
Oh.
You know how if there's a newborn crying
Yeah.
or
Right,
something,
yes.
and you think I got to go 8 hours flying
Yes.
with this. So I think when he saw the dog, he was like, but she was like nothing. She laid down. They never heard from her again.
And
How
that's
long was the
perfect,
flight?
Yes.
yeah, it was just over 7 hours.
It was, that's a long flight.
A long
yeah.
flight. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it like, what if she needed to pee? Just out of curiosity, was there any sort of?
So there's nothing.
I didn't think so.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Where would you do it?
So I brought, and I don't know, like
Yeah.
it was all my sort of plans. So I brought pee pads in case I needed it to bring it into the bathroom and put it on the ground for pee pads. I don't use pee pads, and then I also brought pants with pads.
Okay.
So when she's in heat, she's used to that,
Right.
so she'd be very comfortable with that. And on occasion, she has had an accident while she's had her pants on.
Okay.
So I didn't think it would be a stretch for her. And then I just moderated, just like you do when you put a puppy or a dog in a crate for the night. You sort of moderate how much fluid you give them, and you moderate how much food they get, and sort of help to have them stool
Right.
before they go into the crate. And that was sort of the same idea. It's really like an 8-hour night.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so, but she was like nothing. She was nothing.
Good.
So,
Good.
and then I just gave her drinks here and there, but she slept most of the time.
Oh,
That's
nice.
amazing. Yes.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's training. That's
Yeah.
that's a well-trained dog. Yes.
All of that's training, right?
Right.
It's although she was there on the ground with me, it's no different than if she was in a crate for
Right.
8 hours.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Good point.
I would be thrilled if I was on an airplane and a dog came and sat with me.
Yeah,
I'd
me
be
too.
like,
I know.
Yay! Yeah.
I guess it just depends on what kind of person you are. That he must have been a cat person. So did you speak with him at all?
oh yeah, he was so like thrilled.
Okay.
You know, 30 minutes into the flight, and he was like chatting and
He
No
probably,
doubt
Yeah, he probably
disarmed because he was
realized
like,
that
this is not one of
Yeah.
This is not one of those dogs.
Right.
It's one of those
and you
dogs.
can imagine, like in my travels, and I mean, you must have it too, that you see service dogs and you think,
Yes.
oh my goodness, that dog is out of control.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
especially these days. It
Yeah.
seems to be it's the trend to
There was a service dog. It was labeled as a service dog. I'm sure it wasn't legit. On a flexi, on the end of its flexi at the mall one day I saw. So this little dog just at the end of a flexi had a little service dog vest bopping around everywhere. And I thought, that is not a service dog.
No.
Yeah.
It's not. And it seems like a benign thing, but it's really not, because when there are actual service dogs that are then put upon or put off by those not real service dogs, that is an issue. Because how many hours would you say? I mean, if you had to, I don't even know how you would come up with this number, but if you had to come up with a number of how many hours of intensive work it took to get Edna to the point where she could be a great service dog for you, what do you think that number would be?
All her life, all day long.
So thousands and thousands of hours. And that is what is getting thrown away. All of that time and effort and all of the conditioning and all of the training and all of the work, if something negative happens to that dog because somebody else has been fairly thoughtless in their desire to take their dogs everywhere without putting in the same amount of effort to ensure that they are safe in the public.
Yeah. And you know what? It's a lot of dedication.
Absolutely.
I would say a lot of work, but for me, I don't consider it work,
of course,
but a lot of dedication, because if I go to like Shoppers for toothpaste or something, then I would take her with me. Well, it would be quicker and simpler for me to just scoot over to Shoppers and get that toothpaste.
Right.
But I know that all those experiences, that's what she has to do.
Yeah.
So it's like constant.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
sometimes I would go and I think, oh, I just want to go there by myself. But you know that the value of
Not
it.
with 7 kids, not with 82 dogs, just solo for a minute. I really need a door for my bathroom so I can have some peace. As a side note, there was a video that floated around sometime during COVID, I think. And there was a young woman who was in the bathroom and she was kind of like videoing, and not of the bathroom duties, but she was like hiding in a closet, basically. She was videoing and she was like, this is my life. I never get a moment of peace. Actually, I think she was in a pantry or something like that. And you could see her face and you could see her tears. And she was like, I'm just trying to have a moment to myself. And this is what's happening. And she turned the phone around and there's these little fingers under the door. Hello, where did you go? That poor woman. This is modern life. I just want a moment to breathe. So yes, I can completely appreciate your desire to go anywhere just for a minute.
But I mean, that's all socialization.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Yes. Hey, because and then I would go to Shoppers and go to get toothpaste, but then there would be a construction worker right there, and we would have to walk over a plank to get over the wet cement. So you expose I would have missed out on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey?
Yes.
So the hours that take.
Right.
It would be impossible.
And not only are you're focused on working with her, but you're also getting members of the public probably saying, "Oh, can I pat your dog?" or "What's your dog doing here?" So that's something else that would take your focus away from a direct trip, because now you have to explain to like 30 people, what's going on.
Exactly.
And do you find that happens? Like when she's in vest, people rush up and
people often don't rush up, but they do always say, "Can we pet? Can we pet? Can we pet?" And I never allow it when she's working as a service dog. But when she was certified, the person that was certifying her said, we were at a grocery store, and she said, "Let that group of kids pet her." And I was sort of looked mortified, like I would never allow that. And she said, "I just want to see how she'd be if they did do it without asking."
Okay.
So she was like so excited because she thought, I'm working here and now I get to play with these kids.
And especially kids. Yeah.
So she passed with flying colors, but because of her other training experiences.
Gotcha.
Right.
But so that was interesting for me to see that she needed to also be able to do that.
Right. Yes. Because I guess there could be a point where you were talking to someone and a child does rush up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I go to church, for example, then there's lots of people and kids walking by, and often then you're distracted by you're talking to somebody, and then a kid will go by, or an adult will go by, and as they're going by, they'll give her a little pat, hey? And my attention is at the person that I'm talking to. So then I feel her come up to me, the dog come up to me, and so I'll look at her, and that's what's happened is somebody inadvertently has fed her. Hey?
Gotcha.
Right,
So,
yes.
And she's not sure what to make of that.
No,
in that
she
moment.
knows that she needs to be working. Don't engage.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Mom,
yes.
I need your back up here.
But
Can
when
you get
I-
this person to stop touching me?
When I take her vest off, like I'll say to people, when I take her vest off, her mindset is so different.
yeah,
eh?
that conditioning
Yes.
is
Yeah.
very powerful.
Yeah, so cool. Eh? So
powerful.
yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
goodness. Oh, such a lucky dog to get such a conscious, wonderful training owner
You
to
know what?
show her the ropes. And be
You know
there.
what is? I feel like I'm the lucky one to have the lovely dogs that are so smart, and that I get an opportunity to train.
There's nothing more beautiful than the fact that it's completely reciprocal. I
Yes,
love that.
yes,
I absolutely love
but
that.
But that's what you talk about, hey, when you talk about relationship,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
It's how I feel about them and how they feel about me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, and that's what training brings out, right? We give the dog an opportunity to serve themselves by looking to us and by doing things with us and for us instead of just being self-serving creatures, because that's the heart of the dog, right? The heart of the dog is a selfishly motivated creature. And for me, that's part of what I love about them so much. I can take them at absolute face value. If they're giving me their focus and they're choosing me over other things in the environment, it's because I've done the work and I've made the sacrifices, whatever they are, to build that relationship and get that understanding there. And it's not just a situation where I've said, you know what, I really hope that my dog likes me. No, I've taken control of this thing and I've made my existence so much more appealing to the dog than sniffing the ground and you know, in some way that drives your ego, right? Because it's such a reflection of your own skill, which also means that sometimes it's a really poor reflection of your own skill, but a great opportunity to get better, right? You learn a lesson and you move forward with whatever that thing was. So
Yeah,
amazing.
but I think sometimes when we talk about a relationship building with the dog, because it's the time spent with the dog, that I think some people are sort of, they are taken aback a little bit to say, you know what, I just don't have time to spend like that much time. But it's not the amount of time that you
true,
spend with your dog.
the quality.
It's the quality.
Right.
So like, again, when I'm teaching the, Life Skills 1 or Puppy Essentials, I'll say to people, like, take your dog out of the crate, your puppy out of the crate, and work with them and train and whatever you do, and then just pop them back in the crate. Like, and then they realize that because life is busy, I'll often say no crate guilt. Like,
yes, absolutely.
because it's about the time you spend with your puppy or your dog, your young dog, to build that relationship. But then when you can't, you can't.
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
safely put them somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yes. And something similar, when I was a teenager, the first dog that I trained to a companion dog, a CD level, was my aunt's dog. So I didn't live with that dog, but I would go over every day after school and I'd spend an hour working with that dog, having fun with that dog, building a relationship, and then she'd go back to my aunt.
Yeah.
And we continued, working with that dog for a year like that. And I was extremely successful in my trials with her. We had a fabulous relationship, and it was that quality we spent together.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. And, it sounds like it's a lot of work when you put it in certain terms, but truly, it's such an enjoyable thing. Like I'm, 4 months? My math is not as expert as yours, apparently. I'm 4 months into this relationship with Levon, my young puppy. He's 6 months old, and I picked him up at 8 weeks. And yeah, it's been a lot of work, and it's been consistent work since he's come home. And I've, had a very focused drive to create what I want to create. And I continue to have that focused drive. but it's fun.
Yes.
It's so fun, and it's so enjoyable, and it's so reinforcing for me watching him learn and grow and turn on to the things that I want to do with him, and figuring out who he is as a dog and what trips his trigger, and what things make him go, oh, I love that, and I want to dig in harder, and what things make him go, oh, I don't like that at all, and maybe things I need to improve on. And I'm also having there's this very stark reality of how sloppy my handling has gotten, because Ned definitely compensates. He's 7, and it took me a long time to get this puppy. I was on a wait list for several years, so it ended up being longer between puppies than I wanted it to be. And I've gotten quite sloppy in my handling because of Ned doing that overcompensation, right? He knows what I want, so if I just quickly throw in a wait as I'm half walking away, he does it.
Yeah.
But the pup needs more support than that.
Right,
So
yes.
it's like, oh, right, Shannon, your training is slipping because your dog is doing the things for you. How incredible
Right,
are our
yes.
dogs?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
just amazing.
Yeah,
Nell, are you going to try out next year for Team Canada?
absolutely.
Oh, that's
yay!
exciting.
Exciting, yes.
So what are your plans in that?
So tryouts are in April, I believe, next year, and they're in Alberta. So
Okay.
So you'll travel to
so I'll
Alberta?
travel to Alberta.
We're in,
Where was it this year? Oh,
I was just going to say, if anyone, we're in just outside of Hamilton, Ontario. If anyone's listening to the podcast and not sure where we are.
Yeah. So tryouts this year was just in Ancaster, which
Oh,
Right, the
perfect.
fairgrounds.
Yes.
is like half an hour from us, right?
Yeah.
So that was simpler. Hey, so it's in Alberta next year.
And what country?
That they're going to
Yes.
Portugal.
Portugal.
In July.
Nice.
So I guess it's supposed to be like 38 to 41 degrees.
Oh, bring your bathing suit.
Yes. So it's good. It's going to be hot.
We're going down that road again.
Your best bathing
Your
suit.
best string bikini, Nell. Come on, you can do it.
She wore an itsy bitsy teensy weensy yellow polka dot bikini that she wore for the first time today. An itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini. So in the water she wanted to stay.
Good one, Swanee. That needs a high five.
that
You're
was
gonna
a
have to
good
high five
one.
Nell because we can't reach.
Oh, so good. So good.
See, I told you. Break it.
I
We
was
almost
happy.
missed the opportunity.
Right? Yes.
So I have to work on my mental game so that when I get to tryouts, I'm not too pressured and I can hopefully make a team again.
Amazing.
I'm sure you will.
I have a couple of books that I can loan you.
Okay.
Remind me when we're done and
Okay.
I'll make a note.
Perfect.
Fabulous. So
Yes.
any other plans besides Team Canada?
Just local trials, and we'll go to Florida and do some trials there.
Oh,
as
Florida.
well.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah. You guys go to Florida quite a bit, don't
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So
Actually, side note, Nell's dogs are named after Disney characters.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good thing to talk about. Let's talk about that because we really haven't said names.
okay.
Yeah.
So my my almost 11-year-old border collie, his name is Captain Jack Sparrow, and we call him
And he has a
Cap.
peg leg,
Yeah.
right?
Like in color? No, but he's got a demonic edge to him. So I always say, be careful what you name your dogs.
Oh, right. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yes.
Absolutely. Name your dog Chaos. Guess what you're getting.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and then my dog that was competitive in Belgium, her name is Shenzi. So she's
Is that Lion King?
yeah,
Lion
the
King. Yeah.
hyena, Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh,
Right?
right. Yeah.
Played the hyena, Shenzi.
Say it again.
Yeah, exactly. And then my youngest dog is Edna Mode from The Incredibles. And so her...
And was she Elastic Woman? Was that what her superpower is? Edna?
No.
Oh no, Edna's
the little black lady that did
was in
the
charge.
of the costumes.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I don't think I've seen this movie.
I know who
so.
you mean.
The
Yes.
Incredibles, no.
No.
Oh, yeah. You need to know.
And so her name is the Incredible Edna Mode.
And let's go back. Tramp.
Okay. Tramp. Yep. And Pet.
I'm sorry. What did you just call her and why?
That's funny. That was funny.
Because she didn't have her best bra on.
Oh, actually, I think I do have a good one on. Yeah. Let's go back. That's the saying of the day. Let's go back, Tramp. It's funny.
What I learned today on the McCann Dogs podcast.
The ladies invited me to the podcast. Come to the podcast, they said.
Yeah.
It'll be fun, they said. And here I am. Tramp.
Nell had a golden name, Tramp. Lady and the Tramp.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And you had Belle.
We had Belle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had a tiger, Lily. That
Oh,
was
right.
Lily.
Yeah, I was
Lily,
thinking, I was
Lily.
trying to think, Lily, what was she? Tiger Lily,
and
yeah.
Peg was from the Lady and the Tramp. She was the wrong side of the town, hey?
Oh, right. Yes,
Oh my
yes,
God.
yes,
Right?
yes.
Love it.
And some of those were a little bit self-fulfilling prophecies. So
We'll keep it under wraps which ones.
Right, yes, yes.
So yeah. So those are the names of the
Right, yeah, the crew.
crew. Disney names.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Whew. My cheeks are sore. This has been by far one of my absolute favorite, funniest podcast episodes ever.
Nice. And I was so glad you did get a chance to break out in song because that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, absolutely. And it's one of the rules. If the mood strikes you,
Yes.
you gotta do it. You gotta do it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so words of wisdom. What advice would you give anybody else? You know what? Whether it's somebody who is looking to compete in agility, looking to compete at a high level, looking to compete as a senior, maybe picking up a new sport. Mm-hmm. What kind of advice?
You know what? Somebody just posted on Facebook and said, every time you come to the line with the dog that you love, you're a champion.
I love that.
Yes.
I love it. And it's so true.
And it's so true. So no matter what you do or what level you compete, or if you don't compete at all, whatever time you spend with the dog that you love, you've won.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well
Very
said.
true. Yes.
Well said.
So that would be my words of wisdom. It was somebody else's words of wisdom.
Yes.
But
no,
now
those
it's
are.
mine.
Yes. Yes.
I claim it. I claim it.
Right,
It's
yeah.
mine.
And almost even you can look at it too. Say you have a dog that you never will compete. Either it's just the way that dog is, or the way your life is. Every time you do something with them, you've won too. Like just taking your dog for a hike in the woods. Like there's a win there.
Yeah.
And there's yes.
Yep.
So it can go into so many other aspects of dog ownership as well.
Yeah, I love that too.
Yes.
I love that. That's so, and that's so wise because it is, you get a dog because you want to enjoy them. Mm-hmm. So being able to get to that point where you do enjoy them and you can trust and you can give them freedom and you can both enjoy each other together.
Right.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than that.
Well, because I have 3 dogs now, so multiple dogs. But I will tell you that it drives my husband a little bit crazy because he'll let them out in the backyard and then say, "Oh, go play," and they'll all 3 go out and they'll lay down and they'll look at the house and they'll say, "When's Nell coming out?" And I love that.
Right.
Yeah, me
That
too.
I get some dogs for this reason, some dogs for that reason, different ages, so that I can continue to train and compete. But I don't get them for each other. I get them for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so my relationship, I want to be just as effective with my first dog or my third dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I love it.
Right. Yeah, I like that's a very good point. Yes.
Absolutely. So other than Team Canada next year, then some local trials, do you have plans for more dogs? Like, where are you at with that?
Well, that's...
Because it seems like it's about time.
She's got a
2.5
smile on her.
years
She's got a
in.
smile on her face. I wonder if there's a puppy in the wraps.
There's a secret about to come out.
The secret to come out is that I do plan to breed Shenzi.
Okay. Alrighty. And then you're going to keep a puppy?
I'll keep it.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
Good.
So that's the big secret.
Right.
I'm not exactly sure when that will happen, but yeah.
That's so cool.
That's the plan.
Have you ever bred a litter?
No.
Oh, a new something new.
See,
you're
you are
always doing something new. Yes.
Pick up those new things every day.
Yes.
Every
Oh,
day.
yeah,
It
yeah.
keeps you young. This woman is younger than so many women I know that are half her age.
It's
My
just
goodness.
fun. Eh? Like somebody said to me about Belgium, it's the trip of a lifetime. And it truly was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be the trip of a lifetime, but I hope to experience it again next
Right.
year.
Yes. They'll just
Make it
become
2
trips of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
Trips of the year.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah.
The experiences of a lifetime. How
Yes.
about that?
Yeah.
Life is full of experiences. The better they get, the more you have, the better they get. All of that.
Yeah.
So a litter of puppies from Shenzi. Have you looked at sires yet, or?
So that's in the works for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
I'm doing it in conjunction with somebody else. I wouldn't do it by myself.
Yeah,
right?
definitely
Yes.
something you want some mentorship
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
There's
So,
a lot to that.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
man.
so there's a big mentorship group to that.
Good.
Idea behind that. And so I'm not sure how that will work out.
Gotcha.
Yes.
But
But you're going to do a lot of learning. in
so
that
I
process.
do hope to get another puppy. I'm not in a hurry. Edna's only 2.5, so
Right.
I'm not in a hurry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's coming.
But it's
That's
coming.
exciting.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Nell, I want to thank you for joining us today.
Yes,
This
Thank
has
you.
been
That
such
was
a
yes,
fun
it was.
episode.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Thanks
yes.
a lot,
Thank you.
ladies.
Thank you.
Cheeks are really sore.
It was a great morning with you guys. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you very, very much.
absolutely a pleasure. Thanks for coming in. On that note, I'm Instructor Shannon.
Instructor Swati.
And I'm Nell.
Instructor now.
Instructor Nell.
Instructor Nell.
Happy training.
Happy training, guys.
The McCann Dogs podcast is brought to you by McCann Professional Dog Trainers. We help dog owners to have a well-behaved, four-legged family member. Please give us a call at 905-659-1888 or visit us at mccanndogs.com. Happy training!